So we'll hop in and do a quick thank you to one of our sponsors, Pearson. So make sure to check them out if you're looking for any resources, textbooks, prep, digital study tools, that kind of thing. Fun fact, my last name is on one of their textbooks. But yeah, they're an awesome organization, and definitely want to check them out. In terms of our agenda, we're going to do a little bit of an overview of LEAP and our summer programming, hop into speaking with our lovely Western panelists, have our discussion, and then end with a Q&A period. In terms of LEAP, it's a nonprofit organization. I'm one of the co-founders. We've impacted over 10,000 students across 35 countries, and we have 8 different initiatives that we're currently running right now. So make sure to check out our website at leapcanada.org for more information. And if you're tired of all this school stuff and want to focus more on some career content, you can check out our Pathfinder program that we're running in August. We're partnering with some great firms, TD, CIBC, Lions Club, a bunch of different big name organizations. We'll be covering business, health sciences, design and media, and engineering. So if you're interested in any of those fields, make sure to check out our website and sign up for those programs. So we'll hop into our lovely panelist introductions. First up is Katerina.
Hey everyone, I'm Katerina. I'm currently going to my 3rd year of medical sciences at Western, and a little bit about me. So this summer I'm currently working at the UHN as a summer research student. I also I'm part of LEAP here as an operations manager, specifically for the ambassador program, and I'm also a science orientation leader at Western.
Awesome, thanks Katerina. Next up is Leo.
Hi, everyone. Confirming you can hear me. You give me a thumbs up.
All good.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Matt. Great to see you. Hi, other panelists and hi, prospective Mustangs. My name's Leo. I'm going to my 4th year at Western studying international relations. I came to Western initially for PPE and then transitioned to poli-sci and a variety of social science programs that I've had experiences with. So if you have any questions on those, happy to answer them. This summer, I'm working at Deloitte with their public sector consulting team. And I used to be a SOF at Elgin Hall, and I'll be a RES staff at Essex in the fall. So great to, I guess, I can't see anyone, but like great to see that you're all here and looking forward to answer questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Leo. Hop over to Mila.
Hi, I'm Mila, and I'm in medical sciences in Ivey. I'm going into my 3rd year. So a few things that I do is I do leadership and academic mentorship program. I'm a mentor there. I do Seniors with Skills volunteering, volunteered at St. Michael's Hospital, and I'm also a mentor and campus ambassador for LEAP Canada.
Awesome. Thanks, Mila. And we got Rachel.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel. I'm going into my 3rd year at Western into Ivey. In my first 2 years, I was in BMOS and the consumer behavior specialization as well as psychology. Just some things about me. So I'm with Western Marketing Association as their VP of mentorship, where I help run their mentorship program for first years. I'm also part of Western's Dragon Boat team as their pool coach. And I've worked as marketing intern at Epic Rehab and Sports Medicine. Good to see you guys.
Awesome. And I don't have a slide, but I also go to Western, so happy to answer any questions as well. All right, we'll hop into our discussion. So we're going to talk about academics. There were a lot of questions that came in about Ivey, so we'll touch on that for a little bit. Go over clubs and ECs, which are extracurricular activities, touch on campus and residence, and end off with some financial aid. Again, panelists, if we can keep our answers to like 30 seconds top. So there's a ton of content that people have asked so far, and feel free to elaborate on your responses in the chat too. So we'll hop into why did we choose Western? Kat, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah, sure. So I considered kind of 4 main factors that ended up drawing me to Western. The first one is my program, medical sciences. So I really like that this program had a wide variety of honor specialization modules. So that's something that really drew me to Western. I also like that it was close to home, only a 2-hour drive away, but also because I was 2 hours away, it gave me some independence and I got to live on my own. And I also like the campus. For example, U of T's campus is like really spread out in the city. And I like that Western is kind of its own little community, little like Western bubble. So those are the factors that really drew me to Western.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. Mila, what about you?
Yeah, so I pretty much had the same rationale, except that I was also looking at the dual degree between Ivy and medical sciences. And I really like that the campus has its own like feel and elegance, and I really enjoy that too. Also, the proximity at home was a big factor for me. So those were basically the main things.
Beautiful. I'm resonating with all this. I love it. Leo, what about you?
Oh dear, everyone's saying such cool things. So I would say the two plus two program for sure. And the recognition that you can do whatever you want in your first 2 years, and if you end up going to Ivy, that doesn't appear anywhere besides your transcript. So nobody has to know if you just want to try courses out in your first 2 years. I would say like the social science faculty for sure, and overall vibe of the campus environment.
Perfect. Thanks, Leo and Rachel.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing that really drew me was that I really wanted to go into Ivy into my third year. So that already sort of like brought me towards Western. But what I also realized is that similar to what Leo said with that 2+2 model, it really allows you to figure out, what specifically do you like. So with that, I was able to find that I like consumer behavior and got to, figure out that I like psychology. And then finally, yeah, Western is a beautiful campus and the clubs are just like, there are a crazy amount of clubs for any sort of hobby you have, which also was a big factor for me.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll hop into the next question. Bird courses. People are asking about courses, what courses they should take. For reference, people usually define a bird course as a course that you can get a high mark at with minimal effort and, hopefully is still enjoyable. I know some people will take courses because they're easy and they'll be miserable the entire semester. So it's important to make sure you're taking courses you enjoy. Kat, do you want to talk about your recommendation here?
Yeah, sure. So kind of more from a med-sci standpoint, a lot of students take Psych 1000 and also not just in med-sci, like in a lot of other programs as well. So it is a really popular course, especially with Dr. Mike. He's a really engaging prof. But one thing to like really consider is to kind of take everything, especially that we say here on this slide, kind of with a grain of salt, as Matt was saying, because a lot of people can say that specific courses are bird courses, but one bird course can be a bird course for someone else, but a really hard course for another person. So you really want to look at something that you're interested in because that will typically translate to a better mark.
Very, very true. My friend and I had about a 30% spread between our marks in a course we took together. So definitely resonate. What about you, Leo?
I'll be quick. Look at Earth Sciences 1086 or 2232. Even though it says Earth Science, it's actually astronomy. So, and there are two courses without prereqs. Look at Philosophy 1040 if you're a science student looking to get like a half year essay credit. I think it's Ethics, Law, and Politics. And if you're interested in history, just as a elective, look at Zombie Apocalypse with Jonathan Vance. That's not necessarily bird, but at 85 plus is pretty safe if you like just put in the effort, and it's interesting.
Awesome. Thanks, Leo. What about you, Mila?
So this one definitely is not a bird course, but it is a course worth taking, I think. I took it in first year. It's Business 1220, and it's a pre-Ivy course that's not mandatory to take, but I found that it developed a lot of critical reasoning and thinking skills. So if you're looking to test out if you like business or not, this is a great course to take.
Perfect. Love 1220. Definitely recommend. And Rachel?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely recommend Math 1228. I'm sure a lot of you guys have maybe heard of Math 1229. That's a really popular bird course for first year. But 1228 I found was actually pretty manageable. And if you do decide to take it, I'd recommend Professor Artur Tomberg. He was a legend. He's a really fun time. And for sure, if you like apply yourself in this course, it'll be easy, but also it'll help you for any of your second year statistics course that a lot of us have to take across all programs.
Perfect. Got some courses out of the way. Now we're going to hop into the environment. So have we found it to be competitive? We'll let Rachel continue this time. We'll go in reverse order.
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't personally find that Western was competitive. I think honestly, wherever university, whatever program you're in, you can always find that group of people who are ultra competitive or also ultra helpful. So I think what it really comes down to is that Surround yourself with people who match your sort of energy. If you want that competitiveness, you can find them. But if you do see people who are almost like creating that cutthroat environment that you don't really enjoy, you can definitely find another group of friends. So yeah, I definitely says it depends on who you surround yourself with.
Love that. What about you, Leo?
Sorry, I saw my name on third place, but that's all good. Just wanted to remind for friends who are like thinking about AEO and Ivy and med science law school and everything like that, you're in a race with nobody, even though it may feel like it in your first and second year. But honestly, like find out what you're interested in and what's right for you. And when you realize that, you don't have to be competitive in your grades or courses at all. So do your best, and that's what matters.
Awesome. Love that. Mila.
Yeah, so I found that some programs tend to be a little more competitive than others, but in every program, there's lots and lots of people that are not competitive or just competitive for their own grades. So you can definitely have a good environment in whatever program you end up choosing.
Beautiful. And Kat.
Yeah, just to echo what everyone has already said, it's really all about the people you surround yourself with. Yes, there's some like really competitive people, but like I have personally found the majority of Western, not just even the MedSci community, but Western as a whole is really out to help everyone. So there's a lot of collaboration within the entire community.
Love that. I feel like, yeah, there's competition, but there's collaboration, right? It's good to have a bit of a healthy competition. Let's put it that way. Going into the next question for those looking at AEO and Ivy, is it hard to maintain that? So Leo, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I want to preface this with saying I maintained, so I took all the 2 business courses that you need in first and second year, and then I made the application and I decided not to go. So there's there's options for you, first of all, for the dual degree, or just doing IB, or not take on the AEO offer at all. But to successfully, I'd say like how hard is it to maintain? That depends on what you may take first and second year. If you're in engineering, it may like be comparatively harder. Or if you decide to take a bunch of courses you may not be interested in, but just for the high mark, it may be comparatively easier. So know what you want and don't have any regrets about just doing it for the marks.
Absolutely. Living life with no regrets. I love it. Mila, what about you?
Yeah, so I'll be talking from the course standpoint of 2257, which is the mandatory one that you have to take to be able to apply for the AEO status way. I think the difficulty of that course depends on how much time you put into the cases and what your strong suit is. The first semester tends to be more accounting, versus the second semester tends to be more critical thinking and writing. So it balances out, but definitely it's doable.
Awesome. And Rachel.
Yeah, for sure. I'll speak from a business point of view. I think like course load wise and like just the academics, I don't think it's as challenging. I definitely think it's doable, as many of the other panels have said, but you really just need to apply yourself. Just because you have AEO, you can't sort of like slack off. You still need to put yourself out there, really try, but you don't have to put so much stress on yourself because you do have that AEO status. I would say from a club's point of view, if you already have AO status and you've been involved in clubs in high school, I think you just continue that, picking 1 or 2 clubs and just continuing that involvement and maybe taking on a leadership role or 2. I think that'll definitely be doable and it shouldn't be too challenging to maintain that.
Beautiful. We'll hop on to the next part. All right, how do we get into Ivy without AEO? So if for people who maybe you've had friends that didn't have AEO, or maybe if you didn't have AEO, have you seen people get in without it? Kat, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I can talk specifically from a med-sci perspective, especially with people interested in pursuing dual degrees. So maintaining that 80 plus, because you do need to meet that threshold in order to get into Ivy, is doable in med-sci, but you also have to put in the work. You can't expect it to be super smooth sailing like it was in high school. It's really important to stay on top of lectures, and something that I would really recommend for any course is to really try to get your hands on past exams if you can, if they're available to you. just to kind of see the examination style for each specific course, because most likely it probably is really different from what you've seen in high school. And just once again, from a med sci perspective, I know that it's not recommended to take physics, like it's recommended to take physics in high school, but it's not required for med sci. But I would really suggest taking it in high school because I found a lot of people in first year who didn't take those courses really struggled, and it was really hard for them to get an 80 in that class.
I've seen that trend across other courses too. I took accounting in high school, and I think I had a huge advantage going into first year given that high school course experience. That's a great tip. Mila, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to highly preach about taking grade 12 physics for medical sciences. It makes all the difference, I promise you. So talking about the non-AEO route, so I personally applied through the AEO route, so I have a different perspective but from what I've seen and researched, you apply via the non-AEO route, so it's a slightly different application, I believe, in your second year of studies, and you can apply from other universities or at Western. And honestly, I would check Ivey's websites for the admissions into Ivey and for the most current and relevant information. They're really open to answering any questions that you have about admissions.
Perfect. Yeah, Ivy admissions is super, super helpful. Ivy dual degree, Kat.
Yes, so from a science and Ivy combination, I think it's something that's really good, especially if you have a wide variety of interests and you don't really know what you want to do. I would really recommend, like, even if you're not sure if you want to go into Ivy, I would recommend applying for AEO because it also will make that decision a lot smoother and easier, like if you decide you want to pursue that in the end. And science and business are also really interdependent. I know a lot of people may think that they're not, but it does give you a good option and more career options as well.
Awesome. Move on to the next one. Club community. So what's the club system like at Western? Is there variety? Kat, do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. So I think, yes, there is a lot of variety. I think a really good starting point would be going to Clubs Week. They typically have 1 week at the beginning of the year. I don't know if what it will look like this year, if it will be online or at the UCC, but I would really suggest going and taking a look. There are a lot of booths set up, literally one for every single club, and you can just go around and talk to members of those clubs to kind of really figure out exactly where you would fit in the best and what you're most interested in.
Love that. What about you, Leo?
Just a quick tip: if you're keen on getting started early, I know some clubs are running what used to be summer dinner kind of things, like meet and greets where you meet a lot of upper years. I went to one from W5. W5 is like the entrepreneurship club, one of many. And then PBSN, if you're interested in Ivy or business or BMOS or anything in general, Association of International Relations, if you're interested in anything related to that. The USC is like a huge super system. So there's paid positions, non-paid positions. Matt can speak up like a board position that you can apply to. You can have student leadership. You can run for student government. You can apply for like things related to like science and non like social sci kind of things. So look into that. Social Science Students Council, if you want to be active. I know that's a popular one for those who have AEO in social science. And don't restrict yourself to only the campus club community at Western. Look at the Greater London community as well. If you're interested in that, look at Pillar Nonprofit.
Absolutely. I'll throw the link in the chat. There's tons of opportunities to get involved. I don't know if anyone mentioned, but we have like over 200 clubs at Western. So literally everything from comedy to juggling to accounting to marketing to, cultural associations. There's literally something for everyone. Awesome. Mentorship and internships. Leo, do you want to start us off on your thoughts with this?
Yeah. I think someone mentioned LAMP, right? Mila, I think you're involved with LAMP. LAMP is awesome. Although I'm not sure if there's LAMP for first years this year. Mila, you can confirm for me because I know that. Is there, Mila?
So for this year, there's not, but hopefully in the upcoming years, they're going to revive it. But you will have faculty softs for the upcoming year for sure.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So there's a 2.0 LAMP 2.0 program for mentorship. Like mentorship and or internship. This is kind of like very opposing things, but look at your faculty for specific resources. Contact people like a coordinator for your program. Look at Western's internship program. That's like our co-op. But secret tip with that, you can access the system. You can apply for it, get approved, access the system, but not necessarily pay for the credit. So you can see these opportunities, just apply externally for these roles. There's up to like 200 at peak season before the summer. So look into that for internships.
Awesome. Mila, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
I would just look out for faculty softs and resident softs. They make all the difference in the world. There's also off-campus softs if you're not living on residence, and they honestly have all the resources at their fingertips, and they're great mentors and great friends to have. I would look for other LAMP-like programs. They're definitely going to be putting something out for the summer that'll be LAMP-like. Those programs also help with academics and finding test banks.
Test banks are amazing, lovely, lovely, beautiful things. Rachel.
Yeah, as everyone mentioned, your fac softs, so your faculty softs or fac softs, and your resident softs will be like your holy grail to be that mentorship person for you. But I also just want to plug like business clubs. I know like Western's Marketing Association, we offer both mentorship and internship opportunities. So if you're a prospective first year in business, or we're even offering mentorship for people in health sci or med sci, you can definitely check that out. But definitely there are programs in other faculties who also offer mentorship and or internship programs.
Perfect. Go to the next slide. Managing time. People go to clubs week, they see all 200 clubs, they sign up for like 10 clubs, and they realize they have no free time to go to all these club meetings. So how can people manage their time with their heavy course load? Kat, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I would really recommend narrowing down your clubs of interest to maybe only 2 clubs to start off with. So it'll give you the opportunity to both prioritize your schoolwork while being involved in the community. And then also as the year goes on, if you find that you can take on more roles, I'm pretty sure a lot of clubs have all of their deadlines by like January, I believe, something around there. So you can add on more if you feel like you can take more on.
Awesome. Love that. Definitely starting off small and growing from there. Rachel.
Yeah, I definitely echo what Katarina was saying. If you're in a more busy program like engineering, I would definitely say start with one first. I think it's always better to start with one and see how does that work within your schedule for those first couple of weeks at school. And then once you see, after those first 3 weeks, how your work schedule is going, how you can integrate your clubs. If you see that, it's manageable, keep it. And if you see, you can take on more, then you can definitely take on more. I'd say for like leadership roles, I'm sure a lot of you guys want to apply for those. I would say definitely think now as to what you think you personally can handle, because you definitely don't want to take on more and then not being able to fulfill each of those roles. So for sure, start with one club and maybe one leadership role if you can, and then build from there.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to know, just because you're joining a club, you could join a club and go to a monthly meeting and subscribe to their newsletter, and that could be the extent of your involvement, right? You don't need to be an executive and help plan events and do fundraisers for every club you join. So just keep that in mind as well. Awesome. Social life, environment, culture, living the London life. What's good in the London life here, Kat?
So the whole London community, especially the Western bubble, is really great. Like I said before, I really like that the campus is kind of a little bit secluded from the main city, but it is also like really close by, that if you need something or if you want to find just somewhere else to go and hang out with your friends, there are a lot of options. Right downtown, Richmond Street is kind of like the main street that runs through it, and there's a lot of things on Richmond Street available for you.
Awesome. Good old Richmond Row. Leo, what's good with you?
Yeah, I think a lot of you came to us or are planning on coming for a lot of reasons, and I think you made the right decision by being here. I think about it as in like it's a busy city. It could be like very involved if you want it to be, but it's not insane all the time, right? And it's really diverse. And if you want a lot of different cultural activities, or if you want to get involved downtown, or volunteer or work or explore the environment, like it's there for you, but it's not overwhelming. I never found it overwhelming. Maybe I come from like GTA, but like if you come from other parts of Canada, maybe I've heard that it's a relatively big city depending on who you are, but I think there's a lot here for you, and you'll be able to see that when you come for orientation in the first couple of weeks. So just expect to be open for a lot of things that London has to offer.
Absolutely. Mila.
Yeah, just to add on to the sense of community, Western really does prioritize making a sense of community on campus, throughout campus. So that's something that's a benefit of going to Western. But on a social side, if you're looking for resources, never be afraid to reach out for them. They're always at the fingertips, and we have tons of them available.
Awesome. Thanks, Mila. And Rachel.
Yeah, speak on the environment and culture side. So I'm a big foodie, and I feel like one thing that was really important for me is that I could find, different foods. I was feeling a little homesick. So I definitely say London has really great like ethnic diversity in terms of food. There's Persian food, Chinese, Korean, Canadian, anything you can think of, we have it. And so that was one thing that was really great. The other thing is that there are a lot of cute parks in London, as well as markets to discover, on those weekends or study breaks. So for sure, I'd say that the London life outside of the Western bubble, I guess you can say, is very, very lively.
Love that. Yeah, there's honestly so much to do in London. I've been in London for 3 years now and still have parts of the city that I haven't ventured into. So never a dull moment, and never running out of things to do. Awesome. So someone just asked about res in the chat. So perfect timing. You time traveled here. So let's talk about residence. Do you want to start us off, Kat?
Yeah, so in first year, I lived in Elgin Hall, and I really loved that res experience. Something that I liked about Elgin Hall was that it was a suite style residence. So you had your own bedroom with your own door, and you only shared a washroom with one other person. But then kind of in your suite, there were 4 of you with your own individual rooms. And in the middle was like a common area with a little kitchenette and like a little living area. So I really like that because you got your own little bit of privacy with your own room, but then you could also socialize with your roommates that way. So I like that. And also in Elgin Hall, for anyone who's interested in MedSci, there is a MedSci floor. So if you're looking to meet more people within that program and within that community, I would recommend putting down that you're interested in that.
Awesome. Thanks, Kat. Leo.
Yeah, I love the Elgin Hall plug. I was there in my first year, loved it so much, came back soft second year. And then I'm going to Essex, which I guess I have to vouch for Essex now, but Elgin is pretty awesome. I think if you were to think about like residents, I think you may want to consider communities in terms of Elgin and Medsid. Like Elgin accesses a lot of Medsids, like food later at night, or if you want to think South Side, like Old Hall and Perth and Essex, for example. So I think I see some questions about parties and stuff like that. So and the best res, there's no best res. There's best res for you. And what you're interested in, what you want to actively pursue, and how you want to define your first year. So just ask lots of questions about people who have stayed there and gauge what's best for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. I did residence tours for 2 years, and everyone's always like, oh, what's the best residence? It's like, no, there's no, everyone I've talked to ranks them differently. Like there's no right or wrong answer, and everyone ends up having a fantastic experience for the most part wherever they live. So there's no wrong choice there. Do you want to add to the conversation here, Mila?
Yeah, so I was also in Elgin. I actually was a floor below Katerina. And I also lived on the MedSci floor. So if you're looking for a community, definitely living on a faculty floor is an amazing experience. But a tip is try to meet people from different programs, as it will like help you foster conversations besides academics, because as a MedSci student, if you're living among them, we usually had our exams on the same day because all the courses are pretty much the same for MedSci students. So definitely like reaching out to other programs and not just staying on one floor is a good tip.
Absolutely. And Rachel?
So I was at Essex Hall, which like Elegant is suite style. So one thing that I liked is that for me personally, I like have my own room to study in. And so that was really great for me. However, I do have friends who preferred to live in traditional style because they liked having a lot of people around them. I can speak on suite style when I say that although it was nice having my own room, it is sometimes lonely if you're not as comfortable or you don't know your suite mates as well. So I definitely say if you do want to go with suite style and you want that privacy, but you also, don't want to feel too lonely, try to find suite mates that you know or you are going to like vibe with.
Absolutely. And just on the food part in the chat, you can go and eat at any residence building, regardless of which one you're actually living in. And so, maybe you choose Essex because you want to be right next to the rec center, but maybe, Ontario Hall's CAF is better than Essex. So you can always just like go across the street to eat, right? And a lot of times, you might be having class on campus and a lot of people go eat lunch at Delaware because it's like really close to a lot of the class buildings. So you can always like move around as well. So not to worry there. Moving away from home or out of province, some people, get a little antsy, a little nervous about it. First time kind of adulting, so to speak. Kat, do you want to start us off on some tips here?
So I FaceTime my parents every single night because it is a really drastic change to go from living at home for however many years, seeing your parents every single day, to just going away and not being around them. So I found that FaceTiming them every night, it didn't have to be for too long, to just kind of give them a little rundown of my day or whatever I kind of really needed from them in that moment really helped. Also, living in residence is really good because you have a whole community of a lot of people that you can just surround yourself with whenever you feel lonely.
Love that, Kat. Awesome. Leo.
I think for a lot of students who are coming from out of province or out of the country even, or out of the continent even, I think you may feel some things that you may like think it's just you, or if you're a suite style, for example, right? You may feel like you're on your own room, but like trust me, like I think someone maybe in your own suite or on your floor are going through exact same things. So you have a support network. First step you get on campus, you're soft, your facts off, you're Dawn, the people who you live with. So be vulnerable and seek help when you need it, and build the contact back home as you can, and work it out throughout your first year experience. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Leo. Mila.
Yeah, I found that if you're especially out of province, I find that like going back home during reading weeks or winter break was a great opportunity to just get away from that homesickness feeling and then just regenerate for the rest of the semester. So I would look at if you can be traveling back home sometimes.
Awesome. And Rachel.
On top of just those calls back home, I definitely say study with friends you have at Western. Each residence have study rooms on each floor, and you can also study on campus together. I'd also recommend calling your high school friends. So maybe if they did come to Western, head on to Discord and just pop into a study chat or just a weekly call to sort of reconnect with them from once in a while.
Awesome. Love all of those. All right, getting around campus commuting. I know there's a question in the chat. You guys keep predicting what we're going to talk about. I can't believe this. Kat, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so there's a lot of public bus routes that go directly through campus, whether it's going through campus to get to the mall, there's that option, or to literally get from one building to the next. I know, like me personally, living in Elgin Hall, sometimes it was a bit of a trek to get over the bridge and get all the way to NatSci, where a lot of first year science classes are. So there are like 2 or 3 bus routes that stop right in front of the residence and will take you directly to a building. So if you're feeling lazy one day and just don't want to walk, that's always an option.
Love that. Leo.
The bus passes may look like a lot of money, but you're saving a lot of money. So it's highly subsidized. If you're interested in bringing a bike onto campus, Western recently installed like a really bougie bike shelters that you can it's like electronic. I don't know why. I like, because too many are getting stolen, to be honest. But you can bring it and lock it in sheltered thing. I think it's close to, I don't know where it is. I think it's on South Side. I think there's many throughout. I mentioned car rideshare just to be a little bit different. I know everyone else is mentioning lots of important things. Look into groups for that if you're comfortable given COVID environments, and yeah, using the bus and taking your bike, and obviously there's Ubers. Taxis in London could be kind of sketchy depending on when you want to use it, and it take time to get to you. And sometimes they only want cash, so just try to avoid it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Leo. Mila.
Yeah, so a big help is having the city pass for the buses, but also another option is through Western's campus. We have affiliate colleges that have buses that can take you to like some main places like natural sciences, and I forget where the other stop is, but it's really helpful because it can take you around practically the whole campus. And some people bring cars, but you have to purchase a parking pass in advance. So if you're looking to bring your car over to Western, just make sure that you have the parking pass.
Start looking for parking passes now. I hear they usually sell out in the summer. It's a hot commodity on campus. Rachel, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for walking around campus. It is a large campus, but I say get your steps in. But with that, I'd say that from any residence to the center of campus, it shouldn't be more than a 10-15 minute walk, depending on how fast you walk. And I just think it's a really great way to get around as well, just because sometimes if you're coming from those residences into campus in the morning during those high peak times, the buses sometimes do get full and it's sometimes hard to get into a bus. And so whenever possible, I'd recommend walking, even if it's a little bit snowy. Everyone loves a good leg workout once in a while.
Honestly, I love that. I've been missing that so much being at home with COVID. Like my step count is literally gone like this during COVID. You get in so many steps during the day. So it's great to get that exercise in. Awesome. This is our last slide, I believe, before we get into Q&A. So we'll keep this quick and then we can answer live any questions that are coming in. Do you want to start us off, Kat, talking about funding opportunities?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people ask about scholarships, and the easiest thing I say to high school students is the thing that you can really control are your high school marks. Western gives a lot of entrance scholarships based on your marks, so really focusing on raising your marks as much as you can to be considered for those admission scholarships is really great, because it may seem like only like a couple $1,000s, but it really adds up. So getting your foot in the door with just that one scholarship could really also make the difference.
Love that, Kat. Leo.
100% agree. I think once you're on campus, you can specifically look at a couple things. So look at applying to work study. You can apply. I think in first year you can't technically apply, but towards the end of your first year, look into if you're eligible. If you're eligible for OSAP, most of the time you can apply. Look into faculty-specific need-based awards and merit-based awards, and also awards with the USC. Which range between like 500 to 2,500. There's also awards if you want to go abroad. A lot of those programs are subsidized, or there's lots of awards with that.
Great advice, Leo. Mila.
Yeah, so if you're looking for Ivey funding, so when you're doing your Ivey application, there's a portion to it that has, if you want to be considered for scholarships, and there's also a bursary program that you can apply to when you're applying.
Perfect. And Rachel.
Yeah, Mila touched on it all, so I'll just give up this time for any Q&A that we have.
How humble and noble of you. That's awesome. So we'll hop into our Q&A. So I know there's lots of questions coming up in the chat. I'm actually curious about this one. Does anyone know about any partner airlines that Western has to give students discounts on plane tickets?
I know if you're alum, I think Air Canada, but that's only for if your parents went to Western.
I mean, it's not a partner airline, but I know a lot of my West Coast friends would use Swoop Airlines. They used to fly out of London Airport, but I think now they only do Toronto. But just going from a bus London to Toronto, you can use Swoop Airlines. I heard that although safety is sometimes questionable, it is a good deal.
I just linked something in the chat. It looks like international students get 15% off Air Canada if they book by August 31st. So Learn something new every day. That was a good question. Anyone want to answer some more questions about scholarships, asking about the automatic consideration scholarship? Will you get notified if you win the award?
So I can speak to this. I think I had the scholarship that gave you 10,000 off, and then it split it up each year. So I got like a notification on my student center saying that like it applied to me and it was applicable, and it had some terms and conditions that you had to like satisfy each year for the progression. That's usually the one that's like most given out for the automatic consideration. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. Anyone have any friends who transferred to Western maybe after their second year to attend Ivey or into any other programs? No? Cool. I have a couple of friends. So yeah, feel free to message me if you want, and I can connect you to someone who has done that transition from another school to Western if you have specific questions about that. In terms of Delaware, I loved it. It was really close to all my classes, literally 5-minute walk to most of the classes. Really strong community vibes there. Everyone would, leave their doors open. You would walk down your hallway of like 30 people and everyone's just like, hey, how's it going? So definitely a great place to stay. What kind of organizations do students do co-ops or internships at? Do we each want to go around the room and say like three companies or organizations that you know people working at that go to Western? Do you want to start, Leo?
PD, RBC, Government of Canada.
Awesome. Rachel?
Yeah, I'll just plug Western Marketing Association. They offer internships from over like last year they did 25 companies, and you don't have to be in business. So definitely check it out if you want an internship.
Love that. Kat, do you have any?
Yeah, from a med sci point of view, a lot of people look at doing research over the summer. So I definitely know people that are doing research at like all of the major hospitals in downtown Toronto.
Love that. Hospitals are definitely pretty busy, I would assume, during COVID. What about you, Mila?
Yeah, so being in the med sci world, definitely hospitals are a go-to place for internships over the summer. But also, if you're looking for women in STEM, the club at Western has a lot of opportunities that are being promoted about internships. So I would definitely join that if you're interested.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you can see, there's like wide variety of opportunities for placements. They're probably pretty similar to all schools that you'll see. Do you want to talk on tips about finding research opportunities? Maybe like 1 or 2 tips from our science friends. Kat, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I'd first like say don't be afraid to reach out. Like honestly, I think I was reaching out winter break of my first year. So I didn't even have that much university experience, like not that many courses. But I think I emailed maybe around 50 people and only heard back from like maybe a couple, but it really only takes one person to respond back to you. Just really, they'll know that as soon as you say you're in first or second year, like they know that you don't have that experience, but they're really looking for a passion and enthusiasm to kind of join that lab. So if you're really interested in a few labs, I would really suggest searching up the supervisors and reading more about what their lab actually does. And if you're interested in it, I really think it'll shine through in your interview.
Love that. Great tip, Kat. Mila, do you have anything to add to that?
Kat perfectly summarized it. Everything that she said is 100% correct.
Awesome. I love that. That's awesome.